There have been various prophecies or predictions made throughout history about World War II. Some made by individuals and some by groups or organizations, almost all made by religious figures and spiritual leaders. However, it is important to note that none of these predictions were able to prevent the war from happening. In this video we will learn about these prophecies and their authors, who were able to glimpse the greatest war in human history. Welcome to the Mysteries of the Unknown. Edgar Cayce, 1926. Edgar Cayce was an American mystic who claimed to have the ability to channel answers to questions on various subjects while in a trance. He was best known for his psychic readings, which covered topics such as health, dreams, and past lives. He became widely known in the 1920s and 1930s, and his followers still believe his predictions to be accurate, and his readings are still relevant today. He was known as the Sleeping Prophet, due to his ability to provide detailed information on a wide variety of subjects. And in one such session, in 1926, Cayce predicted that in Germany a great movement was about to arise that would change the history of mankind. 13 years later, in 1939, Germany invades Poland, and World War II begins. The Seer of Prague, 17th century. The Seer of Prague was a 17th century prophetess, whose prophecies were lost over time, with only a few writings remaining. In one of her predictions, she gives frightening details about the rise of Hitler. In Germany speaks a man, whose sign is a strange cross with arms, and he speaks to his people and promises them power and dominion. He aligns himself with the bearer of the axe of the eternal state, but that will bring him no luck. Marialoch Abbey, 16th century. Marialoch is a Benedictine abbey located in the Eifel region of Germany. It was founded in the 11th century and is dedicated to Mary, the mother of Jesus. The abbey has a long history of scholarship and education, and has been home to many notable figures over the centuries. This prophecy is from one of the sisters who lived at the abbey in the 16th century, and predicted events that would happen 400 years later. The details of the world wars, especially saying that Germany's defeat in the first would spawn the embryo of the second, is astounding. The 20th century will bring death and destruction, abandonment of the church, discord in families, cities and governments. It will be the century of 3 great wars at intervals of a few decades. They will become more and more devastating and bloody, and will lay in ruins not only Germany, but finally all the countries of the East and West. After a terrible defeat of Germany, the next great war will follow. There will be no more bread for people and no more pasture for animals. Poisonous clouds, made by human hands, will sink and exterminate everything. The human mind will be seized by insanity. R. H. Naylor, 1933. Richard Harold Naylor, better known as R. H. Naylor, was a British astrologer, and the first solar sign astrologer. Naylor's predictions combined personal recommendations for luck with bold predictions of world events. In 1933, R. H. Naylor, who wrote a book called The Next War, in which he predicted war between Germany and England in 10 years. Saint Odile, 7th century. Saint Odile of Alsace, also known as Saint Odilia, was a 7th century Frankish princess who was born blind and later regained her sight. She is the patron saint of Alsace and the blind. According to tradition, Odile was born the daughter of the Duke of Alsace and was blind from birth. She was sent to a convent to be educated, and while praying at the tomb of Saint Aurelia, her patron saint, she was miraculously healed of her blindness. The French saint made a stunning prediction about World War II. There will come a time when a war will break out, more terrible than all the other wars combined that have ever visited mankind. A horrible warrior will start it, and his adversaries will call him the Antichrist. All the nations of the earth will fight each other in this war. The fighters will rise up to the heavens to take the stars and throw them over the cities, to set the buildings on fire and cause immense devastation. The oceans will stand between the great warriors, and the sea monsters, terrified by everything that happens on or under the sea, will flee to the depths. Nostradamus, 1555. Nostradamus is one of the most controversial figures in history. French Renaissance apothecary and physician Michel de Nostradame also practiced alchemy. The supposed oracle began publishing his famous cryptic quatrains, verses grouped in 4 lines, in 1555. Since then, even decades and decades after his death, his legacy has not disappeared, with many continuing to link his writings to devastating events throughout history, such as the rise of Nazism and World War II. Nostradamus made several extraordinarily accurate predictions about the Nazi dictator. Some of the verses sum up Hitler's life and even prophesy that his death in Berlin in 1945 will never be satisfactorily confirmed. In the mountains of Austria, near the Rhine, shall be born of humble parents, a man who will intend to defend Poland and Hungary, and whose fate will never be determined. Other verses describe the early years of World War II, when German armies invaded France across the Rhine. Although most of Europe was allied against him, Hister, as Nostradamus almost accurately and frighteningly names Hitler, for a time achieved resounding success. A wild and furious beast will cross the rivers. Most of the battlefield will be against Hister. The prophet also expressly refers to weapons heard in the skies and flying fire machines, an explicit reference to aviation, bombing, and the first V-bombs. Nostradamus described in detail a wartime pilot, wearing an oxygen mask, helmet, and goggles, as semi-pork, semi-man, when battles are fought in the skies. Nostradamus believed that there would be 3 antichrists in history. In the interpretation of his texts, the first would be Nero, the second Hitler, and a third would be yet to come. In this passage, there is the quote that makes reference to the Nazi concentration camps, where Jews were burned alive. The new Nero will have the young men thrown into the 3 ovens, to burn them alive. Happy is he who is far from these acts. 3 of his blood will watch over him to make him perish. In this video you have just seen some prophecies that predicted the Second World War. If you know of others, please write them in the comments. And also be sure to give your impressions and suggestions to the channel, always remembering to give a like and share this video with your friends. And don't miss the next video of the channel, with another mysterious curiosity. See you in the next Mysteries of the Unknown video.